okayfm 101.7.
Okay.
You can't say now mom de mame nkwe na me lawyer Godwin Edudzi Tamakloe eni enkomo na yen hwe sede ene man so esitie lawyer Godwin Edudzi Tamakloe head of the NDC legal na wasan ye MPA boss o ye mranimu ni ye ne ntwe enkomo law me mo achi
Brakwame na chano pay me chawo tiefo nyina
atiefo nyina joso na boko de
obo ade ada roma Brakwame na won promote say
mimpomu suso mimpomu ye pa na no ye ho ye nka bi ade ehun se abante bi adenta kumi waye petition ade akoma mampani se ebeya ka lawyers na wo mugina mo petitioners a wo mo hwe se ye betimi ayi maame chief justice tokonu afiri wo no wo mo akwakọ hia adidie na wo mo di nkomo bonsiri enu achi ye hu se videos bi abebeba out a eno so nam social media na enen kra ya tie ne se NIB National Investigation Bureau for enso so akọche adenta kumi ewo saa eniem nsema epiepie no ho ekobo wo nyina wo gi ne sen ewo mrem
yo Brakwame anopay once again me chow with you for nyashe form online Brakwame when we said your omamu ha yedemra in a year ejuma I want to find out if you are NIV for I don't know if you are now believes and maybe a crime has been committed or something into finding out the details so it'll be difficult for me to speak on that matter. The image me I can't want them the one that is public record now which has to do with the Americans say the current we are a world public domain. Make a public domain service you and some no there it's a matter of public record. Akobati a branch wa ubo the adenta kumi. The idea or the way akoto senior friend or man penny need or man penny and investigation the and 3 judges or 6 justices Gabriel Court Foreman Justice Asiebi Justice Kulengi na omukosia lawyer your friend of Tadio Soli to discuss the Chief Justice matter a couple currently. The assembly by a bit surprised because personally I have had reason to say that but Sebio Misilia Tadio Soli say on ye at the clandestine. Sebi. Restaurant no back where I also could be at the video of Market Square. Can you be at the who Anna?
Yes.
Inchi na aye green.
Na no kwa no se udi mamia ana meshia na de mami e dey na chese no ye bribe na de mami.
But even this one I asked Maba the studios of okayfm. Wow, show studio transparency number 1 because there's a camera on you as we speak. Ghana na show. But even this one, I asked Maba the studios of okayfm. Not on it, I mean, for whatever it's worth, you could see them hugging. Then later, my Lord Kulendi then informed Tadio said, oh, ABC the for 2 or more my colleague judges no call.
Na audio
What you say?
Audio can.
No, I personally reached out to Tadio when I saw the
Oh, okay, right.
I personally reached out to him. And I said, oh, Prof, I a friend of Prof, or Tadio or law school. And she, a friend of Prof. So we said, oh, Prof, this is the video I have seen. What happened? No, so first of all, as you can see in the video, the first video, they are teeth. Also, the first video, you can see me seated with Coach Jan. And when Justice Kulendi saw me, he started saying, "Fuck, fuck, fuck," and walked towards me and hugged me. It's been a while since I saw him. It was he who informed me, said, Justice Edudzi Kofi in a sit down honor. You know, Sebio, out of courtesy, I can't see the Supreme Court judges and just walk them past them. So I had to go and just extend my courtesy to them. And immediately I came back and sat down. So they claimed that we had a meeting to discuss. That's the most important thing. That there was a meeting to discuss. Then, clearly from the audio, they said the video recording there. And I thank God said there was this CCTV camera. Nanka in the past, somebody could have just made up this story and you explain you can't. It is thankfully there were all this. And the evidence is now over and the verdict is out there. Yes.
Now, my Lord, Mammy Raddy, is it a matter of coincidence? Say, and Quaphone be P or Tessabia, Adentakumi. And I know woman say, one more 400 information, Sabia, say betting your coso. Into near Monquay, now most of the need for an amonco, say, no crescent meeting between your coswana.
Adentakumi was not there.
Oh, no, no,
no, Nico. So they are very soon you see all the details that will come out. No, Nico.
No.
And you see, one will say, Grand family, Sebi. Marco Fufu joint. You know, Fufu joint be a makeup. The Sian trust. Because, like you know, we have to have picture.
Edudzi woni ni fufu.
When say make us a major. Those days me call radio good in your area. Omo should be in your area no more. Ya na me call hono. Na oko radio good. Udu Nkrumah fast hono ma. Joint be hono.
Yeah, minimum pa.
Ya na me fa o kakra ata obende. One day, we were no be actual to Facebook. Also, I saw Edudzi eating fufu with assorted meat.
Wow!
I'm saying, you know. So I'm just giving you this background stories. As for public restaurant, you can just enter and then you meet somebody unexpectedly. But the suggestion Adenta could be created and then they said they had met to discuss this matter. And he knew for a fact that it is not true. But the whole idea, and then they said, okay, as much as possible, poison the public mind. Poison the mind of the public against those charges. Look, back on me.
I show me to you.
And then make us in Yadso. See, Ghana, your constitution and your history is quite interesting. It's a man, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah overthrew in 1966. The National Liberation Council, Ebaye, almost said he have various commissions of inquiry. One of them, Justice Afaluna Nedano, to investigate CPP appointees. And he made all kinds of findings against Kofi Bakon, and many other people. He told me later the CPP was banned as a political party.
Now, with him in 1966, 24 February, who's almost start a committee. Say na Kwame Nkrumah kra wo girlfriend bi nkani girl bi a TS ka bi ma no
omo se ono na omode ma dede
na dede
on all in fact when you say na dede kra ye she was made to appear before commissions of inquiry.
Sure, I know.
Yes. Say on searching for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah a special way to bring flour, the idea bread, you know.
Yeah, some.
Some among other things. Simply, but that's you see, Jansapalutina Esna, those committees, no.
Yeah, that the Apalu committee, yeah.
Yes, and made different findings. But now at that time, not a high court judge. Into later, be a court of appeal judge. Into what thereby.
Mm-hmm.
In 1966, after 66, eventually Liman be president.
Okay, yeah.
Now Liman party, you know, is more like the offshoot of the CPP because the CPP had been proscribed. No, they couldn't come back as CPP. You are banning CPP. Liman party no buy, you know. Then a CPP for. At that time, not just Apalu, a court of appeal. Into the new constitution created a new Supreme Court. Into a created Supreme Court, you know. Now, as I say, Oman Penny appointing the Chief Justice that will be the head of that Supreme Court. And you understand? And because Apalu was the Court of Appeal, the head of the Court of Appeal, now I say Omeye the Supreme Court judge. Now your constitution can say Oman Penny appointee as Chief Justice. I just all call Parliament for vetting. Yes, sir. Parliament now occur, you know. That CPP fund a good honor. And where the people are all sitting on the commissions of inquiry and made all kinds of findings against them. And so for them, it was payback time.
Mm-hmm.
One a branch did, and may his soul rest in peace. Dr. Amwakutu. Okay.
Dr. Hey! Make kind of papa. School feeding.
Dr. Amwakutu, that I'm not a young lecturer. I work here at university.
Mm-hmm.
In our obey plaintiff, in our old issue rate the court to challenge the fact that the president has appointed the head of the Court of Appeal to be the head of the Supreme Court and now Chief Justice. And the whole idea, and then they say, once Apalu call Parliament for vetting, you know, the CPP people there will gang up and disapprove of his nomination. Payback time. So that here. Guess what? Then lawyers Victor Usu. Talk I Victor Usu.
Victor's my uncle, no.
The celebrated senior lawyer Victor Usu.
My uncle, no.
Top-notch politician.
You haven't got a PA.
Then mobilize the UP people and say, look, let's find a way to protect Apalu.
Mm-hmm.
And that what is happening, no, it is not just following the constitution, but this. Guess what? The matter went as far as to the way. And the judges protected Apalu and said,
wow,
at the end of the also Parliament and all of those things, unconstitutional. And the court agreed. So that
mm-hmm.
At that time, no, not that constitution, name me Article 2. It's one of the challenge against Amwakutu from the only busybody.
What page mama no?
What page mama no? Na at the end of Apalu, now what the whole year there. It's a honor.
And now on your interested party, so
that be a honor court no can say in the seminal case of Tufo and Attorney General say Amwakutu has a community of interest with the constitution itself. And that is how you was close with capacity. With that history, you know, and my year 1992 constitution in the day Article 2 expressly at the issue to solve the problem and Amwakutu for have it into for an Attorney General. What I say? Then fast forward, Justice Aban,
Yeah, Justice Saban.
Now, Ghana Bar Association for so why you might be into the rolling so the name champion rolling, or the name Chief Justice. In a Ghana Bar Association, sorry, court and the court came in and intervened and protected him. Quote unquote, protected. I use it advisedly. Then, I'm now Anthony Kufuor be a president now. Sebi. Onunyam for Bright Akwete, CPP ni Bright Akwete.
Hey, why?
Osho. Other petition by say Chief Justice Akwakodia Debuti. It's or the Article 146 proceeding petition is back. Now Mampini enter committee, blah blah blah, no more unity. But for interesting reason, petition found its way on the front page of a newspaper. In a branch a friend of Frank Adiechu, the court Supreme Court said, Article 1467 says, the proceeding shall be held in camera. In camera, no, a Latin word, hidden, secret. What is it? And so, to the extent, say, the Omo above on the whole process is tainted with unconstitutionality. And that's how come Chief Justice Akwa was never removed. The proceedings, the court again came to the 8th. This is the only time who said there is a proceedings and there have been suits and others and there have been dismissals and what have you. Possibly. Sometimes senior might be a tour. Now I check on so Anna Woni Nipa Munkuta Hudie at the same. Look. Mekaipa, Brother, and I'll say this. Mekaipa recently, in one of the courts, the same in practice, just to represent an interest or something. In one of the courts, no more courts meeting. And my Chief Justice, one of the suits, I can't sue, he should be offered a hearing or something. One of the recent suits. In open court, High Court Judge can say, hey, a young one say, in open court, or say, a young one say, and let Chief Justice talk or no, a case should be heard. Now, almost High Court Judges, the only the petition echo against almost to Chief Justice, and that's in respect of Justice Okono. Transfer and that it is surprising and such a person will now be asking that she be given the opportunity to be heard.
Now I say all the authoring pattern rule no I
think I can know
okay.
Sometimes in life who ya dey will be say baby I won't say na be sad you no be to
no correct.
Now Judge no can in open court, High Court Judge, in more court meeting. So he is not victimized. In open court, a lawyer put you now home. More like, okay, look, there have been instances where my colleagues that have been transferred by this same Chief Justice just because a party to a suit had gone to, as it were, complain about them. Should not even hear you out. The other one, you go to remove you as you go to this village, you go to this town, you go to this town. So the judge will say, look, it's important that everybody is treated fairly because nobody knows tomorrow. So that's it. For me, back when my account, 6 years the young crop for young Kaiji, a snubby air day ever. Officer met him. Me boardroom, Udua, all previous chief executive officers, almost pictures in that dino. That's what I mean. Me say, almost pictures in the boardroom. Anytime I enter the boardroom and I see the pictures, do you know what it reminds me?
Debbie.
That this office is not permanent.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, Sebio and him, what will you be remembered for? How did you treat people as chief executive officer? How did you relate with your industry people? Those are the things you'll be remembered for. And it's a constant reminder to me personally that a public office. Sebi. Say you will be an actual to the moment associate chief justice. Anna
Debbie.
Anna Sebi you or Mampeni in a Timmy now or oh, what more body to be a chief justice a man. Oh, as you meet that position now, the first thing you must remember and say Sebi, who be the pro about a man or Mampeni. And on Mampeni, so I appoint you Anna
Sanity.
So that it will become a constant reminder. And only a Timima who say, you are going beyond where the Sebio. Public office, it is not like ahini neakase where the or your daching or your brimpon na or your royal or your hair apparent or your way dabi a yanko ponato inti senyame nyina dom na odi entro some pepe so I mean you try as much as possible to show some consideration.
Now, Chief Justice one show consideration. This animal okay.
So asem na make.
Are you? But you.
Asem na make. Say, ye nyina se kai nyoma mienu miensa bia. And then the ma ye who say, Sebio, na me bi sa bra kwa me. The kind of justice that has been delivered under the tenor of a lady said the Chief Justice. If she is made to go through the same form of justice, will she be happy? Brother Kwame.
Me too.
Will she be happy? Set you. Judge ni opuni mata no tio. Judge ni o. Onye no ga for retirement. Ye the case akoma judge for. My Lord Justice Anoche Jima. Now Anoche Jima, I take the brief. Also my share case, and one same doors will be free. So I want to start de novo. Now the next moment, no transferred to Kumasi. Start work the next Monday. What's coming? Judging or Yejuma. The next thing, bam, you have been transferred. Judging a Yejuma, the next day, you move here. The next day, we say, look, Bakwame, we are journalists, near journalists. Our song, echo form.
Mate.
Our two, may say, was song. Ento form. Natie and your man, you sabi. Look.
Because I'm not in an obi boy lament pa.
What's that?
And when no be boy so can the same thing pa.
Bro, come look, me, minimum beer for no apparent reason. Bam, not transfer. No apparent. It got to a point that I judge the phone in our school. We hear in a normal because with the bam, you better transfer. When you do a thing like that, I said, "What you be a man and cover some more?" We are here team a song by a kitwa. As someone to wa obedient say yes tatra asem ti wa o ti we say yes no so na ye ketewa bi when we obia ye kom obia ye kom me say look that the bar so for akufu nom in the dinamu and scatter the impeachment proceedings against Chief Justice Akwa. And then they had the case of Sankaji too versus Attorney General. That's how that whole this thing was scattered. Why is everybody quiet now?
No.
Yeah. We need to sit down and do self-introspection. Sebi, so man, penibia wadom. No pija wudum pensu bia. Enya ye nipa, enfumso ebatayo. We can't always be perfect. But generally, obia to make us na a branch idea, sebi obon everybody. Yes, what talk. Tomorrow one or two areas, but generally upon buying. That is how you even make a president who has appointed you proud.
Now, Mami Musa, why was Sue say a beya and canipa be or why you want to committee and so and no so all right.
No, Kwame. The Constitution allows every citizen of Ghana. So only one or two will be Enyagina to, and I'll tell you an interesting story. So there was a day we go to Supreme Court. In a High Court judge, we been with the petition at the bar. Etiano said, "Sebio, Waji Adamuti, High Court judge, the person in Bonidi." In the proceedings, no echo sonana or trauma Chief Justice. I think that time it was Chief Justice Georgina Wood. It was a committee, no, Abana committee, the Jumanana or trauma Chief Justice said, "Were resigning." Now, when we say we a judge now will resign here, you are still entitled to your benefit. So that is.
Yes, but I know.
The impeachment proceedings no also, and it is established wrongdoing against you. You can forfeit all your benefits, regardless of how long you have worked. It is just you who says, I did the ethical quiz, the make partner, I did you know you find the wrongdoing against me. Masturbation. You might to come to that. So, pending on the resignation, MRT Justice. The Supreme Court now, the issue came out for hearing. Supreme Court judge reported that the Peninsula for resignation is just to overreach the work of the committee. And that you are simply doing it so that you can go home and enjoy your benefits. That you will not. And the court rejected that. The court rejected that. So I can understand where the CJ the suspended CJ may want to go to court and try to fight this. I admire her for her bravery, the courage to take on the entire impeachment process in court and try to litigate. But the American say, what are the constitutionalists? Okay, say CJ called Betty. Okay, say she's a textualist. She's what? A textualist. Usually, when we say a judge is a textualist, simply what it means, and then they say, the writing, constitution,
any position of the law.
Hello?
Any position of the law.
And then give meaning to it. And
give meaning to it.
Import anything from anywhere into the wording of the constitution.
But said baby, so authorities be any other case laws be also it must be applied, and they do baby so okra e bia me kan wa ha, but me the way so be kan it may be in consonance with the me kan met me the way
but no am a nyina who say no a textualist so that at the public vetting to become the Chief Justice also on there a textualist. Bra, Oshe, relief one. I said, men are no okay. Sebi. And she has the right. And that right, she is wavering it. Right from me. Article 146(7). So, or say, the proceedings shall be held in camera. And you understand?
In share mandatory.
Mandatory. And you understand?
What's Article 146(7) or say?
7.
The committee appointed under clause 6 of this article shall require into the petition and recommend to the president. I want to make any.
Yes, to
the president whether the chief justice ought to be removed from office. All proceedings under this article. All proceedings.
All shall be what?
Shall be held in camera. Camera no kwano. Was said it was in camera. And the justice or chairman against whom the petition is made is entitled to be heard in his defense by himself or by a lawyer or other expert.
So the provision and yet clear.
And also a entrenched provision.
Or say shall.
Yes.
Oh.
You want to be son.
When you be in film, in fact, it is that provision that became the subject matter of the Franca J. Chu versus Attorney General. As Supreme Court here, I interpret it. So what are we talking about? Now, Sebio, if there is no right, there cannot be an election. So what I say, if there is no right, if the thing is not optional, there cannot be an election. An election in the sense that won't mean deciding what you want. You can't decide, say, oh, make sure this provision, I want to comply with it.
Because there be our court say Uncle Fokra, yes, and I say the panelists no, yes, the woman by yeno, I'm a nipa abihebia. Will be better be a court to say no, is against it.
You stop them because they themselves will be engaging in illegality.
Sure.
Unconstitutionality. In fact, to the extent that the Supreme Court can say, even to the extent that even a copy of the petition found its way on the front page of a newspaper. That whole thing is tainted with illegality.
Wow.
And this is a decision of the Supreme Court. Franca J. Chu versus the Attorney General.
Okay. Lord, Mami nya na yan ready ensam so besi why wadawruma na koyadwuma.
Na bra kwame. Kakra sabio me baby say Mr. Edudzi. No. But the court has decided. I remember a famous statement by this suspended chief justice. Also, the public can make the noise, but the law
is the law.
Is the law.
Yeah, I heard him. Yeah, I heard her say that.
But I mean, what has changed? Any demo, me say, Ghana Funina, maybe so. Entina me de dabia me ba ofidie so asem bi aya na me kana me say o wi ofo nsa
na wa hwewodie
that's it.
That's it. Lawyer Godwin Edudzi Tamakloe na ye ne no atwetwe enkomo no okay 101.7 so ni oyno wa
okayfm 101.7